What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We really appreciate you being here. I've got Ryan, Alex, and Lindsay. What's up, guys?
What's up?
What's up?
Hey.
We've got a good video for you guys today. We have been putting a lot of thought into these podcast style conversations, and I think we are doing it in a unique way here where we're coming at deliberate subjects. And today we're going to talk about reflection. And this is actually Ryan's idea. I think it's a great topic, and we're going to split it into two different conversations, really reflection of yourself and who you are as a person, a business person, an entrepreneur, and then reflection of your trading. But I kind of want to let Ryan steer us here. So for everybody, sit tight. We appreciate you being here. And Ryan, let's get this thing rolling here. So tell us what you were thinking.
Yeah, so I was thinking that, well, you, for example, I know you mentioned that you have a trade printed out, right, by your desk. I think it's a GU. So that's like your biggest winner.
Yep.
Right? And not only is that a big accomplishment for anyone, right? If they have a killer trade, boom, print it out, smack it up somewhere. And I'm sure that helps you. You know, you see what you did right, your accomplishment, and you're proud of it.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, with the one trade that I have printed here so far is actually probably my biggest, like, not loser, not my biggest loser, but my biggest, like, regret, like the worst thing I've ever done. And it was that GCAT trade. Remember where I hit it like
I knew that's what it was going to be. I knew that's what you were going to say.
Yeah. And because it helps me reflect, I was like, okay, and every time in my mind, I'm looking at the technicals, not only of that, but to remember that, okay, I'm trying to sell it at every single resistance level, regardless of what else is telling me. And it's just not right.
Right.
And not only that, it's a specific trade where it's despicable, right? But, well, two of them. But at the same time, it helps. It says something about myself that I tend to learn more from my failures than I do from my winners. What do you guys think?
That's huge. That's huge. And I feel like, I mean, Alex and I, we actually had a conversation recent about that, where we were saying how the winners are great and everybody rides the high. Remember, that's what you were saying, like, you ride the high of the winner so high, but you're so quick to just take a loss and not look at it ever again. Like the guys this morning that got in that Euro AUD trade. And all I said was, because I don't want to be an asshole, but I want to say, yo, don't ignore that trade that you clearly got into early. And I said that, and you're done. You're leaving the desk. I get that. That's fine. But you got to reflect on it, you know? And Alex, you're doing a lot of markups now, I feel like, and that's what's leading to some of these D2 trades.
Yeah, pretty much. I do agree that you do tend to learn from your losers a lot more, because even me personally speaking, once I win a trade, I kind of just like shrug it off and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go look for my next one. But when I do end up losing a trade, I actually like to step back and look at it and be like, all right, what happened? What went wrong? Did I jump in too early? Did I skip a rule? Did I not wait for anything to pull into the zone that I was looking for? So on and so forth. So it is very important to reflect on your failures as opposed to trying to reflect on your winners. Winners are good, but they're a product of your reflection, if that makes any sense.
That makes a lot of sense. You got anything to add, Lindsay?
Yeah, I'm the same. I just exactly what Alex had said about your losers. I do tend to reflect on my losing trades the same, just because I want to see where I did make the mistakes and I don't want to continue making them, so I will focus on them more. But at the same time, even though I have a winning trade, I still like to say, was it a good setup? So I will, and all, when I'm journaling all my trades, I just go back every week and just look at my winner and my losers, and then I take notes on what I did really well that I can carry forward and what I don't want to carry forward.
What do you guys do, like, to make it even, and I agree with you 100%, Lindsay, when you have a situation where you catch a winning trade and you have to like force yourself almost to go back and look at it and say, what could I do better even though I made money? How do you do that?
Me personally, I literally just started, like, I know that people say to journal all the time, and mostly I do digital journaling, and it's mostly just putting my markups on in like a drive or something for review. Yeah. But recently, after you know how I kind of went on a hiatus last week because I kind of need to like clear my mind and just kind of step back. So I kind of came back this week with a better mindset, and to the point where I'm actually starting to journal literally all my trades here and just pretty much going over like all notes about how I feel and stuff like that. Yeah. And I feel like that really helps. Yeah, that helps. I mean, digital is cool, like typing it, but there's just something different about writing it down. You know, it just kind of just feels more real. it kind of, for me at least, it kind of just attaches to me a little bit better. So that's
it's
what
almost
I've
like
been doing.
as we get more and more digital with everything, it's like the writing becomes almost like a realer thing. You know what I mean? It
Yeah, it's
becomes
more tangible.
substantial because you never
Definitely.
write anything now. You're so used to typing. It's like when you write something, you pay even more attention to it. You know?
It's
Exactly.
a delicacy.
It's a
Yeah,
delicacy,
pretty much.
exactly. It's like a lost art, exactly. I feel like when I think about reflection, because a lot of new traders come in and they think that it's as simple as like, all right, I'm going to watch the course and then I'm going to go trade and that's going to be it. And that's all I got to do. I just got to watch and then trade. But there's this whole middle piece that everybody looks at or doesn't look at. It's the markups, it's the work. And I feel like that's where I've gotten a lot of my growth is through that reflection of, okay, I'm going to force myself to sit down and go look at the day. Where was the movement? And I mean, if you think about it, the systems that we trade, you guys are smart. They're not that complicated. They're just technical systems. If you look at them, how did I figure them out? There are indicators there, and we, of course, narrowed that down. But all I did was I would reflect. I'd look back on where did the move happen? Oh, look at those patterns within the move. You know what I mean? And that was just my brain putting it together. But like kind of what Ryan said at the beginning, without that reflection, there would be no growth, you know? And I think that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah, and kind of touching on how I know you hate the term that like when Forex, when people compare trading to a video game, like no, it's not a video game. But the problem is when you do look at it that way, you know, just think to the people that, you know, are playing Call of Duty, right, or whatever first person shooter, and they're just boom, kill after, like they're getting killed after killed, and they're on a losing streak. What do? They just go on a rampage, running around just shooting everyone. And that can easily transfer over into your trading, and not necessarily just by looking at it as a video game, right? Not necessarily in that context, but in the point of view that you're probably not taking it as seriously as you should, and it's because you're not mentally invested enough in it as you should be.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I know
notice
Lindsay and
sometimes
I talked about it with a couple of trades a few times where, you know, we ask each other for you know, critique on certain trades, and well, obviously, you know, with you too, Austin, every now and then I'll send you a markup too, and there's a lot that goes into that, right? To ask for not only what you can potentially see the next time that you didn't see the first time, but as well as, you know, what you didn't see at all and you might have missed first time.
Yeah. And also when you look back on even especially like the bad trades, like how you have yours framed, I think it's interesting you chose to frame that because it drives home the point to you of how important it is to stay on your rules. So it's not even that the reflection can even lead to just new information. It can remind you to stick to the information that works. You know what I mean? How do you guys, I mean, Alex, you said you have that journal now that you're writing kind of like your feelings, and I have the same thing. Mine's over here. How do you stay, I guess, disciplined in it? Do you do it at the same time every day? Because I find that I have a hard time sitting down every day and like being like writing in a diary. Like Riley does it really well. She's always done it since she's been a kid. I just don't do that. So it's harder for me, but it's super easy for me to journal my trades. Like I love writing about my trades, but writing about how I feel, I do it and I'm forcing myself to. But yeah, can you give me maybe me or anybody listening guidance on how do you stick to that? Because it's hard.
Definitely. I mean, well, I just started doing it, but what I'm trying to implement is like every morning before I sit at the desk and open the charts, I have my rules written down on the very first page and the trading plan. So I'm actually going to read over those every day. And each time I take a trade, the moment I take the trade, I actually jot down exactly how I feel about it, you know, entry price, stop loss, blah, blah, blah. But then I also take note of how I feel when I'm taking the trade. Like, did I feel confident taking this trade, or did I just kind of hop in just because I saw price? Yeah.
I have it in my journal after. I don't have it during, and maybe that would be easier for me, you know?
Well, I do it in the beginning, and then at the end result, that's when I also journal in any updates and stuff like that, you know, of how I felt.
Like a
maybe
reflection of the trade.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that to do it during, because that memory is that feeling is a lot more fresh in your mind, and you're probably feeling it as you're writing it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do that with the feelings. I just jot that down on it's not even a journal, it's just a notepad, but I write it down in the date and exactly how I feel before as soon as I pull the trigger, how I felt.
And it's interesting because exactly. It's hard to remember because then you're on to the next idea so quickly, you know, and you're on to the next thing. Win or lose, you're just ready to keep it moving. That's how we all are. But I find it interesting too. I feel like the days that I have journaled and paid attention to my feelings, and those are normally days that I do well, I notice how much more positive I feel, like how much I have a more positive outlook towards everything, not just trading, and then it reflects in the trading. You know what I mean? And I think that's really interesting. And we're also, I find, like I said, kind of quick to not be so positive to ourselves in the journaling. So it's important when you are taking that time, when you do say, I'm going to sit down for 10 minutes and just write how I feel today or how I feel before I trade or whatever it is, it's important to, I think, look at the positive and the negative. You don't want to just look at how bad you're feeling or just look at it from a negative, which I feel like we do a lot. You know what I mean? We think so many words a minute, way more than we say, and a lot of them are sometimes self-defeating. So it's important for everybody that's listening to remember that as you're journaling, you don't, Steenbarger says it the best. He says, don't whitewash your good things, just like you don't want to whitewash the bad things. Don't overlook anything. Just sit in the middle as best you can, which is sometimes hard because you're emotional, you're caught up in the moment of the trade. I definitely can understand that, which is why it comes back to what Alex was saying a little bit of the reflection after the trade too. It's still important to come back after. And I was talking to that, what's his name? Not Ricardo, George. Yeah, he was doing the call with you now, Ryan. I was talking to him this morning about that. And I'm like, it's so important to set that hour or hour and a half or 30 minutes. If you have a kid and you're busy, whatever it is, at the end of the day to come back and reflect. Because if you don't, you're really not going to, you're going to wake up the next day with a whole new brain and you're not going to remember what you felt, what you thought, or what yesterday was doing to you. So you got to come back at the end of the day. And that's why it's hard. Like, it's annoying to make money trading and have to come do a video for everybody on Facebook at 3 p.m. I want to go to, you know what I mean? I'm going to want to go to the beach in 3 weeks and I live in Florida, but I do it because it forces me to be accountable, to come back and reflect every day. It forces me to sit here and talk out all the ideas. And that makes me better. It keeps me at least profitable. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I have to do it. So you got to build things into it like that too, to keep you on it.
100%. I got a question for you guys. Is there a difference in the way you reflect on your good trades versus the bad trades?
Ideally, the answer would be no, right? You would try not to.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel like I definitely have not documented, in the past at least, I haven't documented bad trades enough. I've let them just slide. You know what I mean? Like, I just won't do that again.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. So what I tend to do is I tend to dwell on my losing trades more, but I don't well document them. I will very well document my good trades, but
does that mean it lingers? Like, it lingers in your head? You're thinking about it?
Yes. Where I'm just looking at it, I'm just like, what happened? What did I do wrong? What can I do better? How can I fix this?
Yeah. So you don't document it though. Yeah, I get that. I can kind of chime in on that.
Yeah.
But you're not documenting
any other trade, but I don't put as much effort into the documentation as I do any other one.
And why do you think that is, Ryan? Why do you think you do that?
I think it's almost like I wouldn't say like self-destructive. That might be pushing it, but it's almost like I'm punishing myself for it.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, like when you're training a dog, and you push their face into a business to not do it, right? When before they're potty trained, it's kind of like that.
So it's tough because wait, I want to hear what Alex had to say before I comment. What were you gonna say, Alex?
I was gonna say that I kind of agree with Ryan with that. Is that I don't tend to acknowledge my losing trades enough, and I think that's a main reason why I started journaling, so I could actually write them down. And as you know, I started doing like the whole Twitter thing, like how you do, Ryan, where I'm literally posting up my my trades up there.
Yeah.
And that kind of helps me stay accountable to it, that it's actually there, it's real, right? So when I first published trade, like I started doing that today, where I won ECAD and I won GU, but then I also posted Aussie USD, which I took and I ended up losing. So the fact that I posted it up there before the trade even played out, and after the trade played out, I can't just go and delete the tweet and be like, okay, it never happened. Now I have to actually acknowledge and be like, okay, I lost the trade. Let me put it up there. Let me show my P&L. Let me show what happened.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm starting to do now. And it helps me to really acknowledge those losers, you know, so that I don't kind of just shrug them off and try not to learn from them. And I think that kind of stems from like I guess shame, not shame, but like you don't want to acknowledge it because you don't want to be embarrassed, if that makes any sense, that you ended up losing.
It's your ego.
Yeah.
It's your ego.
Yeah, it's your ego. Yeah, 100%.
I think I did that before I came here, but I always knew that I wasn't learning from it. So now I feel as if I actually, when I do take the losing trade, I reach out more because I really want to see where did I go wrong. Because if I don't, and when I'm looking at it, there's maybe times where I'm not seeing where I'm going wrong, so I will reach out to us and say, on this trade. And I think, you know, you just want to grow and evolve, and you're going to grow and evolve more from the losing trades. So exactly what you said with your tweets, then you're holding yourself accountable, and you're obviously going to grow from now, because you just can't shrug it off and forget about it.
Exactly. Yeah, like it's published, so you can't delete it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could, but then I don't want to, because then I'm pretty sure people already saw it, and they're like, oh yeah, people would know. Yeah, so
everybody
it's good.
The other thing about it too, which is a very interesting thing that you guys are experiencing now for the first time, I think I've been going through it for a little bit longer, but what it is that as you create content around your trading, and you guys have a resource now to actually make money off that content through selling our courses, people want to actually see you lose more than they want to see you win.
Yeah.
So when you do a good job at handling a loss and you can show that to people, it's probably this. If you had testimonials at the top of the thing that would convince people to get into trading and start with ASFX or start just learning a system in general, if testimonials were the top, this is right beneath it, showing that you can handle a loss well, sharing it even. I've gotten already 10 DMs today. Bro, so transparent for showing your loss. I'm like, I show all my trades. So transparent for showing your loss. Like, because people really appreciate that. So it's even
people know that you're not sitting here winning every single trade. They know that you're going to take losses, so you have to keep it real and show them.
I mean, I'm watching Billions with Riley right now, and it's funny because like you see all the backside of like how insider information is passed around. Yeah. I love to be those guys that have that information and they never lose, but that's not where we're at right now. You know, I have to take my losses small and get out of the trade. And take my 1.4% loss rather than my 2.5, because I get out of it quick because it's not working. I have to do that right now still, you know? So I'm taking the losses as small as I can. And that goes even to what your GCAD trade, Ryan, the one where you were punching at it and it was punching you back even harder. You know what I'm saying? I try to just like, oh, it hits me, I'm out. I'm just running away from it. You know what I mean? I don't even want it.
Didn't I tell you that it threw a 2 candle formation? Oh, this one. I was thinking about the one from the other day, where it threw a 2 candle formation. We were long bias, and then it threw a 2 candle formation short. I was like, hey, look at that. It's a 2 candle formation to take it short. And I was like, yeah, but ignorance. I know. I'm just pointing it out that it's kind of contradicting, and then it just drops the rest of the day.
All day. You know. Yep.
And that's the self-reflection. You know, that comes into it too, where it's like you have to consider that you might be getting multiple signals there at the same time too. So
of course.
It's easy. That's why I've not implemented that rule per se, but when I look at a break of the EMA, where Austin, you don't really consider it a break until it's a breach, right? When we're looking at a break of the 200 before taking it down, and I still consider it a break, and it's because if you have a D2 signal, right, which is the counter trend trade, if they have divergence at the bottom and then it breaks the 50, that's considered a D2, and it can continue on. It can continue higher. And I feel like that's really easy to miss when you're taking a trade, let's say off the 200, when you have divergence at the bottom and it broke the 50.
Of course,
that's a counter trend trade that we use for our signals in our.
It's like an entry signal and an entry signal. It's confusing.
Yeah, and it's really easy to miss that sometimes, and I was missing it for a long time.
Yep. And what shows you that? The only way you get better at seeing that is reflection. You start doing a bunch of markups, and then like on Euro JPY today with the divergence on the bottom, you're like, wait a minute, I've seen that before. Wait a minute, I've seen that on a Monday. On all the Mondays, it does shit like, oh, okay, so I can just avoid that, you know? And you don't get that unless you do the work. And it sucks because I feel like it's so easy to just tell people, go do markups, practice the system, prove to yourself that it works. But most people won't do it. It's fascinating.
And here's what I do. With the people that I have coaching calls with, is I specify that there's a difference between, at least in my opinion, in my eyes, between a markup and a write-up. Because you can mark it up, you can draw the lines and everything, right?
Sure.
Put on the box on the calculation, etc. But it's not until you actually write it up and you write down every single detail that you notice, where it's actually going to look at every single detail and make sure that everything's accounted for, right? Whether it's good or bad.
Yeah. You know what I found too on my markups that's helped me to turn them into write-ups is I'll use text bubbles. But what I've been doing more recently, if you noticed, is I don't do just one text bubble where it's just a paragraph of shit. No. It's multiple bubbles. Oh, look at this over here. Look at this over here. Pay attention to these things.
Huh?
Yes. Yeah. Because that's what I want to. I go back and look at that and I'm like, okay, C setup, I get stopped in profit. C setup, I get stopped in profit. C setup, I get stopped in profit. All right, maybe I should just move my stop loss to the structure point, not just into. Oh, okay. Now we're making progress. Where does that come from? That doesn't come from anywhere, right? Except reflection.
What have I been saying for the last 2 months?
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. It only gets and then it's reflection with accountability. It's like all of us working together to look at it and say, okay, none of us are geniuses, but if we all apply our brain power to this, we can come up with some really smart ideas and then share them, and then everybody can, I think, grow. And that's always the goal. The reflection only works for people that are looking to grow. That's it. If you're not willing, if you're closed-minded and you don't want to grow, you're not going to care to look back. Yeah.
Even when it came to that, meditation, I'm hearing everybody talk about meditation, and I'm sitting here not doing it. I do yoga, I don't do the meditation, and I was
oh, come on, Liz. You got to get on it.
Monday, and I'm documenting it down, and I'm going to see by Friday how I feel, and has it changed me? Has it by Friday? I'm going to see, has it helped me in the week, or has it not helped me, or have it just been the same? I'm going to try it out as from today.
Absolutely.
So today.
You know what reflection has showed me?
It's quite hard.
Literally, you know what reflection has showed me is that I like doing things that are hard. You've heard me say that before. Meditation every day for 10 minutes before trading, when I see 100 messages in the group chat, is very hard.
It's hard.
It's difficult to not come. Right. So that's why I force myself to do that in the morning, because I'm like, if I just do it and get it done, I'm holding my streak. I'm doing it my every day, and then I can go turn on. But it's hard to go from turn on to turn off and then come back and turn on. It's very difficult for me.
Yes,
but I do find value in the meditation, because you sit there and you are able to, it helps you gain a third person perspective on who you on yourself, and you can use that to reflect on your trading and reflect on how you're carrying yourself and all that stuff. But then that can actually translate, I think, into when you're trading, and you can actually look at yourself from a third person perspective and be like, is that the right decision? And then it's weird, because then you see, because I'm tracking my heart rate with this band, when I do my meditation, how low I can get my heart rate. And then I can see when my trading, my heart rate's at 100, but when I meditate, I can get it down to the 50s. So I'm like, if I could just keep my heart rate that low while I'm trading, now I'm reflecting and I'm using real data, real science to actually keep my body in a state that makes good decisions, really, is what I would think. Because you're probably not acting right at 120 beats per minute. You're racing at that point, 100 beats per minute. Your heart's it's going,
It's like cardio.
50, yeah, exactly. At 50 though, you're a little bit calmer, and I think that does make an impact. So I've been paying attention to even the heart rate and reflecting on my heart rate. So it's all reflection. It's fun because you can treat it like data. You know what I mean? I love it.
Yeah, 100%.
You got the Whoop band, Ryan? You wearing it? Where's it at?
It's out for delivery.
Let's go. I'm excited. Now I got to get Alex and Lindsay on it too. We got the
I got to get one.
Because then you can see everybody in this app, and you're like, yo, Austin, why the fuck didn't you go run? And you can see everybody who's slacking. You could see.
You share stuff like that?
Yeah. I have a whole group for people already. Riley's in it. There's other guys in it. We got a couple, five. Yeah. So when you join with my link, I add you right in automatically. So once you get the band, you download the app, you should be in the team already.
That's pretty
Eric's
cool.
in there. Yeah, bro, it's cool. But now accountability and reflection. I'm reflecting on my, even the stuff you can't pay attention to when you're awake now. I'm reflecting on that. So it's cool to see how much of a self-discovery process trading really is, And then I think that drives home the importance of reflecting on yourself, because if you stop, you plateau, and that's when the growth stops, and that's where you probably stop making as much money. That's where I'm going to assume. So I'm afraid of that to the death of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because ultimately, once you stop, again, you stop doing your reflection, whether it's through markups or your write-ups, repetition, it's when you lose everything else. It's well, I'm kind of joking around, when now that gyms are starting to open back up, and there's a meme going around where SpongeBob's picking up heavy dumbbells.
I
gotta get overweight.
I know, I saw that. That's funny.
And that's what happens when you start slacking on your routines.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, you're gonna start losing more trades. You can't hold the winners. You're gonna end up, seeing things, or not maybe you're gonna unintentionally, or better said, you're going to intentionally miss things that you would have seen a month ago.
Yeah, and again, I think the reflection keeps you confident too. If you're reflecting every day, you go do some winning chart markups, you see the pattern winning, that builds confidence too. It makes you feel good. Yeah, exactly. So the reflection, I think, for everybody listening, as we kind of come to an end here, I feel like if you're at a position now where you're a newer struggling trader and you just spent the last 30 minutes or so listening to us, the one thing you can do is take some step of action. All of us have been in the position that you're in, where we weren't journaling at all. And then it's developed over time, as you can hear, into more than just trade journaling, more than just even like a daily diary. It's become this whole self-discovery process. But don't be intimidated by that. Reach out to any of us. I'll put everybody's links in the description. Everybody in our community, at least, is here to, make you feel confident that any step you take forward is a better step than no step. So if you're not journaling at all, start just journaling your trades. Don't even worry about the diary. Don't even worry about that. If you're not doing markups at all, start doing markups. Start documenting the system to build confidence, to see where you can tweak it, make it better maybe. I think that you just don't want to be intimidated by everything that we're saying just because we've been doing it for so long. You build up to that. You don't, wake up at 9 o'clock every morning and then think the next day you're going to just start waking up at 4 a.m. and being the king of the world. It's just not going to happen. You've got to take baby steps,
Definitely.
But before we head out, does anybody have anything that they want to leave everybody with? I think we covered it well.
I think we covered it well. Just do some sort of reflection.
Yeah. Shout out to Ryan for the good topic. I appreciate it, Ryan. So YouTube community, let us know if you guys have any questions, if you guys have any other topics that you want to hear from us on. I know everybody's going to drop comments and say how much they loved it, and I appreciate that, but tell us what you want to hear. If there's anything you're struggling with and you want us to comment on it, I'll pull these three together. Maybe we'll get G on here when she's ready, and we'll get everybody's opinion for you. So YouTube community, we appreciate you. Lindsay, Alex, Ryan, you guys know I appreciate you always. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Yep.
Take care.
See ya.
See you guys.